Right guys, thanks for joining us for another video. So this will be part 4, I think, if you've watched the other 3. If not, it'll be the first one. So get yourself back and watch the others.
Yeah, what are you missing about? It's nearly Christmas.
That's it. So this is basically the first video of us starting to put the car back together. So if you do watch the videos, the last one you'll have seen will have been us basically wrapped her in the floor and preserving the car, I'd say, more so than restoring it.
Yeah, exactly that.
So we'll start with the fuel tank. We had an issue with the fuel sender. Basically, the original tank that was in the car was just full of rust and gunk. And
it actually snapped off around the breather, overflow breather. It actually snapped off.
Yeah, where these bits, they're only brazed on, aren't they? It had broken off, but it was only fit for the bin. So.
The good thing is, to be fair, things like that reiterate really why we've gone this far.
Yeah.
If we hadn't have decided to change the tank, we wouldn't have found that, would we?
No, and a hell of a lot of fuel filters. Trying to
it runs not very good. So in theory, as much as we didn't want to go this far, we've had to, and it's been worthwhile. We found a lot of issues, haven't we? Yeah. That we wouldn't have found unless we'd gone this far.
So that's new tank. We get them. I think we've mentioned it before, but they come from Rs500.
Yeah, they're suppliers with them. They look after us, do us a good price and a good service. Good lads.
And then we put a bit of a post, well, not a post, but we mentioned on last video if anyone had a fuel sender to get in touch with us. And a friend of mine, Fraser Vincent, he dropped me a message and said, I've got one. Don't really know what it's worth, but I'll send it up to you guys and you can test it and then
send him 50 pence plus VAT, which we think is very reasonable for a part you can't get anymore.
So if any of you got any more around that kind of value,
we will pay up to £1, to be fair, won't we?
So there we are. We'll show you how we checked it, and then we'll get it in the tank and we'll get the tank fitted. Right, so this is our new sender. As you can see, everything moves. And the problem with the other one that we had, hopefully you can see this, but as the float moves, it moves these bits up and down a tract, which changes the resistance. And then obviously that's what makes the gauge go up and down, basically. So if he holds on to that, and then we go between, was it the green and the
white?
Green and the white. You get them in and I'll show them the meter. So they're in there like that. Meters onto ohms. There. So that's reading 185 at the moment. And as Paul moves it, which changes the resistance, we can see there that it's going up and down. And if you go back the other way, a bit slower because we're getting open line on that. We can see that changing, so we're pretty confident that that's a good sender. So what we'll do is we'll crack on and get that in the tank.
Marvellous.
Right guys, you'll have seen us finishing off the fuel tank. That's now in the car. So we tested the fuel gauge, fuel sender.
Yeah, that worked.
That worked, so that's gone in the car. First part bolted back on really, isn't it, I think?
Yeah, tank went back in straight away, didn't it, rather than it it's kicking around on the floor.
So that's back in. That was a new tank from Rs500.
Yeah, yeah.
I might have already mentioned this because it's been a few weeks, hasn't it, since we...
Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it? Yeah, yeah.
So we're probably 8 weeks later from fitting that fuel tank, I think, or thereabouts.
It will be, because we went to America, didn't we?
Yeah.
You were there for about 10 years.
Yeah.
I went for 5 days, ended up there for 6 because they couldn't get me home. And then Christmas and blah, 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 blah. So we are now middle of January.
But what it does mean is that all the bits are back from powder coat.
And the bolts are back from zinc plating.
So that was really what we was waiting for to get on with this.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Now that's all back. We've already made a start.
Yeah, we decided to do where we started, and then remembered we hadn't mentioned it in the video. So we put the rear beams now completely back together. We've got some photographs that Steve can add in to show you. We've put brand new original bushes into the rear beam rather than polyurethane bushes, because they're available. Unfortunately, the big donut bushes, we call them, they're not available anymore, so we've had to put poly ones in there, but we've put like a road spec one, so they're quite supple, so you know you get a bit of movement on them. All new wheel bearings, haven't we? Put all brand new bearings in the back. Just clean the drive shafts, add the diff sandblasted, vapor blasted. Sorry, yeah. Just to tidy up to make it look nicer. Again, we're stood looking at it now, aren't we? Going, we should have painted them drive shafts.
Yeah.
But we have got this dilemma of we have to stop somewhere, unless you know the price just gets out of hand. So
I think as it is now, everything's powder coated. It's not going to deteriorate any more.
No.
The shafts can be done at a later date if he wants to do them at a later date.
They're never going to corrode other than drive shafts, put it that way. We've cleaned them, they look a lot better, but we haven't rubbed them all down and given them a lick of paint just because we're trying to work to a budget, aren't we? But we have, we've got the fuel pump cradle back on. That was stripped, all blasted, powder coated, if Steve gets the camera. So you can see. So that's now blasted, powder coated, refitted with the new fuel pump and the new fuel filter. But we did that in another video to get the car running initially. All new fuel lines just need connecting. We need to change the fittings on the end to a bolt on one. And these shockers obviously coming off because
down here
they're all down here, which I've painted these all black because obviously we've put brand new suspension on it and it all comes shiny yellow. So what we've done is rubbed them down and painted them black to make them look, to scratch them to death.
Is it getting a motorcraft sticker?
Yes, and we've done the fronts as well. We've built these up ready to fit, but they were yellow as well, so they're now black.
So they are the actual yellow Bilsteins. It's not we've just kept them in that box. They are the actual dampers.
Yeah, they're yellow Bilsteins that we've rubbed down and painted black. Brand new uprated standard ride height springs, so they can all go back in, which we're on with now.
Well, there's all the bolts.
Yeah, there's the Allen Chrome at Pocklington Neighbours did all them for us. We've had the fuel rails. I can't remember what they call that plating now. The zinc plating and nickel. So the fuel rails have been nickel plated. The accelerator cable bracket's been nickel, the rest have just been zinced. And over here we have an abundance of nice shiny bits to go on this car. All brand new discs in there, all the power steering pipes are new, new flexi hoses because you can't buy the original rubber ones anymore, cables, ABS sensors, like Christmas look, new chocolate ends. Everything really. The rear springs are in there. Brand new exhaust system.
All from Graham Good.
Yeah, Graham supplies us with everything because the service is brilliant. The quality of the parts he supplies is the best that we can find. So we're happy with them, aren't we?
The only thing he don't give you is enough discount.
So yeah, so we're the engine's there now. Steve's just put the gearbox cradle back on there. We've had that blasted and powder coated. Again, we gave this all a steam clean. We're not going to go to, we're so tempted like to take the inlet manifold off, have it vapor blasted and take all the brackets off and have them all painted and zinc plated. But again, it's down to where do we stop? So everything's just been cleaned. It's going to go back together. There's a few new brackets and that under the bonnet that we've had done. But we're just trying to...
It's probably worth pointing out again that the initial kind of like scope of work was get it back on the road.
That's all it was.
It wasn't to restore it. It was, I want to drive it again. Can you get it roadworthy?
That's the key, isn't it? That's the key. So I think we've achieved that, or we will have done by end of play tomorrow. I would say this engine, gearbox and all that back axle is going to be back in the car. So we'll have moved forward quite a bit with it. I'm going to give it under bonnet a quick clean before we put it in. And then we've got the detailers booked in February sometime. I can't remember what date it was, but we've got them booked in to come and detail the outside of the car. The wheels are there. We need to get the tyres off, get them sent away and get them refurbished. Is that it?
That's about it.
I think so, innit? No else to tell you, really.
Nope. So you'll see us fitting the engine. That was yesterday. We also started, not refurbing the parts, have we? But basically this is obviously more of a preservation, isn't it, than a restoration?
Yeah, it's not a restoration. We keep reiterating about that because we get people comment about, you should do this and you should, why did you put that back on without doing that?
But we've looked at it, like the intercooler, it was a bit scabby, wasn't it? It started to corrode. The only way to stop it corroding worse, as in to preserve it, is to clean it up and paint it, really, isn't it?
That's what we're doing, innit? We're not concorsing the car, but like the steering rack, Steve did that yesterday, rubbed it all down, coats of primer, coats of paint. Not to make it look nice, it was done because it wasn't rotten, but it was rusty.
It's to preserve the car, isn't it? And stop it deteriorating any further than it already had.
Exactly. So
don't look at this and go, oh, for a full restoration, it's not what we'd have done. It's not a restoration.
Yeah. But we're happy with it, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, it does look, saying that, it does look good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it looks really, really well. I think, like you said yesterday, Steve, when this goes for an MOT bloke kind of seeing all the Reg Sierra pulling in and go, huh, that'll be knackered. And he's going to look under it and go, fucking hell.
Yeah.
So if Steve grabs camera, we'll show what we've done.
So yesterday, obviously, engine went in, and then we started getting the hubs and things on. So if you want to go through that, Paul.
Yeah, well, obviously you can see that, as we said, the rack's been done, blasted, cleaned and painted. We've put all brand new power steering pipes on because, number one, they were rotten, and they're known for snapping at this end. As most people who've ever tried to take one off, they'll see they always snap. So that's new. This was already a new pipe when the car came. Somebody put that on. So every power steering pipe's new. We put new track rod ends on just because basically they're that cheap. All new bushes in the anti-roll bar. We blasted and painted the track control arms. They were mint. All new nuts and bolts, as you can see, all the original zinc plated. That's the suspension in place that was yellow. We painted it black. Brand new ABS sensors again because they're cheap. New discs again because they're so cheap. So it's not worth putting old ones back on. We've got the brake pipes to fasten up and the flexes to put on.
The calipers had already had some work on them, hadn't they?
Yeah, somebody's already refurbished them. We're going to tidy them up a little bit and just touch them in to make them look nicer. So that's the front end. I'll send it up. You can see there again, we've had all the brackets re-zinc plated, all the bolts plated, just to make them nice. Do silly little things like these always hang loose, so we'll put a new P-clip in them. You can see there the gearbox cradle, we had that done, all new bolts, everything. Had the bracket zinc plated to protect that. The prop shaft, we had that blasted and given that a coat of paint to keep it nice. Again, had all the bolts zinc plated, not to make it look nice, just to preserve it. But it does look nice at the same time.
Yeah. So we've got standard original exhaust to go on, haven't we?
Yeah, we're going to put that on. We're waiting for the brake pipes, aren't we? There's a guy, Stage 1 Motorsport. He remanufactures all the fuel lines for these and all the brake pipes front to back. So we've ordered them. He's promised us them by end of month. If they don't come, we're going to have to make them up ourselves because it'll hold us up now because all the rear end is in, Steve, in it and done.
Yeah, we're not going to, obviously it's got a different pump in there with different terminals on it.
Yeah, so we're going to have to make a fly lead because we don't want to cut these off because they're original. So if anybody ever remanufactures the pumps, you can put it back. So we'll make a fly lead up from there, won't we? That'll convert it from push on to bolt on.
And then we've got fuel pipes to run in and brake pipes, haven't we, on the back end? But we're not a million miles away, is it?
No, again, all brand new ABS sensors on the rear. Here, look, these all go through the floor up there. They poke through the floor like that. So they're to run inside the car and clip up. But again, new discs, new calipers, new handbrake cable, new shockers and springs. But it looks nice, doesn't it?
Yeah, you gave the diff dust in a lacquer, didn't you?
Yeah, we had it blasted to clean it up. I've given it a coat of satin lacquer just simply to try and not make it look nice, just to stop it going rusty straight away. We haven't done the drive shafts, have we, Steve? We'll mention that. Like, we cleaned them with steam cleaner. to clean them all up a little bit. And, you know, again, we sort of and arm. Do you strip them? Do you paint them all? Do you tidy them up? But, you know, you're probably a day and a half's work to do that. And you're just adding more and more to bill all the time for a car that is going to be used. So
we think we've took this car, or this car will have been taken to a point where it's never going to deteriorate. And if the owner or the next owner or whatever, they've got a good base to go from, haven't they?
Exactly. It doesn't need a lot to make it absolutely perfect. Again, we stood looking at engine, didn't we, Steve? For must be half an hour before we put it in, and we were like, oh, hey, up the phone rings as always. We were like, oh, what do we do? Do we take the inlet manifold off and have it blasted? And do we do the alternator? Do we do the engine block? And we just said, no, it's just not worth it because the guy wants to use the car. But if somebody, like Steve said, if he ever sells it and somebody else wants to buy it, all they'd have to really do, if they want to go down that route, is whip the engine out, take the manifolds and that off, and they can do that themselves. Same with gearbox, we gave it a sim clean off, but it's under the car and he's going to use it. So, but yeah, we think it looks all right. The only thing that was rotten, wasn't it, Steve, that we had blasted was this. This is an air deflector that basically sits on the front cross member there, long way around, and deflects air up. It's hard when you're upside down, isn't it? Anyway, basically it goes there and deflects air towards the intercooler. But you can see when it was blasted,
a few holes in it.
It's few holes in it. So the good thing with them is we carry these in stock. He says if you can find them. So we have them. Brand new, all powder coated. So rather than try and weld up an old rotten one, we'll just put a new one on it.
Go on then, show them your intercooler.
Oh yeah, hang on, let me put that down. So there we are, the intercooler is ready to go in now. Me and Steve are just about to lift that in. Again, just a quick rub down, a quick coat of paint. As I'm sure you'll see on the pictures, it looks better than it did before we started. It didn't need doing, did it? But again, it was just...
when you first looked at the car, when it first came in, no, it didn't need doing. But now the car's at this stage, you look at it and you go, oh, well...
I can't put... Yeah. We are, you say, only doing what's essential, but you can't put something back in that's scabby like that. And when these were made new, they didn't prime them. They basically just give them a really, really light coat of satin black.
Just to hide it behind the bumper, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So it doesn't stand out.
It didn't stand out. So what we've done is primed it and painted it, so it'll keep all these, the actual bits that the air passes through, it'll stop them corroding and hopefully, again, prolong the life of the intercooler. That's the idea.
Radiator, that's going off for a recore, isn't it?
That's going to get recored. It didn't leak, but you can see it's not great. That ain't going to last much longer. So rather than it pop later, we said we'd send that away, get that record. So we better get this fitted, haven't we?
Yeah, we'll crack on and we'll come back at the end of the day, shall we, and see where we're at.
Yeah, see where we've got to.
So that's the intercooler fitted. Now they have these rubber bushings on the side, and in order to line up, I don't know if you can see now, let's turn the light on. You see there, that's like a spacer, and what that does is it aligns the radiator with the intercooler. So if you think the air's good, if you had obviously the bars on the radiator that was level with this point here, you're almost blocking the airflow through. It'll go through the intercooler, but then it'll block up between the intercooler and the radiator, and what you need for it to actually work is it to go pass right through both. And then inside these rubber bushings, they basically have a steel insert, and that just stops you over tightening it. So you can tighten that up, and you're never going to over compress this piece, because all it does, same as a suspension bush, is it tightens up on this bit first. So that's the intercooler in, so brake pipes next. Right, so I said next job was to make the brake pipes. So I thought I'd just run through some of the bits and pieces that we use to make the pipes. So to start with, obviously simple cutters. This is just like any pipe cutter really, quite basic, nothing to them. We have two different types of flaring tool. So I use this one if I'm trying to do it on the car. It's quite easy to to use. You can hold that and then just wind that in, and it flares the pipe. And then we have the bench mounted one, really good, but you can't use it on the car. So if I'm making the brake pipes up here at the bench, then I'll use this one. For bending the pipe as well, we also have these, which they're quite easy to get them on eBay. They're not a massive amount of money. It just means when you bend the pipe, so if you want to bend this piece here, if you bend it by hand, you can't get a really tight bend, whereas if you use these, you can get a much tighter bend without it crushing the pipe. You can see the difference there from one side and the other. So I use them. Also, when I've cut the pipe, to get the pipe flat and get rid of all the little ripples in it, is I roll it underneath a piece of wood. So I put that on the floor and then I roll it backwards with that underneath the wood, and what it does is it straightens the pipe out. So that's another thing that we do, because I hate to see pipes where they've got little ripples in them. It wants to be nice and straight, and if you straighten it all out before you start making it, you'll end up with a better job. So I'm going to get on now and start making this brake pipe up, and I'll show you it when it's on the car. So as I said, to straighten up the brake pipes, because obviously it comes off the roller, you can never get it perfectly straight. All I do, you can buy a tool, you pull it through it. They're quite expensive for what they are. I think they're about 50 quid, and obviously we don't need to spend...
Way too tight.
If we don't need to spend £50, we can use this bit of off-cut pallet here instead. And all I do, I put it on the floor, and then I just roll it. I just push down on it gently, because you don't want to damage the pipe. Back and forward. And that gets your pipe pretty good, really, isn't it?
All I'm saying is, you can tell who does the baking at home.
So that's where I'm at with that. Now this is an important bit, because I have messed this up before. So if I was to put a tight bend on there, I wouldn't be able to then slide that up to it. So if you're going to put ferrules on and stuff like that and flare it, you need to make sure you put them on before you actually flare it. But I'll show you how we flare it. So that goes into there, a little bit sticking out the end. What you want is you want to just be able to see the end sticking out like that. And then that goes over there. All that does is just nips it, and it gives it the die for it to go into. So what we're using, if you look at, I don't know if we've got any fittings here, I'll just let me grab one of the pipes. So if we look at the end of the brake pipe, you see it's got the chamfer on it. So what we need to do on here is, it's actually two parts to make this. So option one is you do that one first. Like that. And I don't know if you can see in there, can you, Paul? But yeah, you can see the shape that gives it, but that shape there doesn't fit up with that there. So then what you do is you get the second piece, which then gives it the inset, I don't know what you call it, but it's option two, the double flare basically. So then you put that one up to there like that, and then you just push that in. You see it? And if you undo that, take that back off. You can see there now that that's give it a shape which will fit against that. And then all we do is we run that up to it. So that'll fit up to there. Like that. Now, I've already written my dimensions down, so I've got 50 mil, so if I measure back from the top of there, 50 mil, and then that's to the outside of the bend, so 50 mil from the front of there to there. That's where we use these, so we can get a nice tight bend on these. And what I do is I put them on like that, and then I look down the mark and I look down to where the back of that is. So the back of the bend will be 50 because it's in line with this. And you just lightly grip it and then just pull it around until it looks, you can see when it's more or less 90. And then you need to stick as close as you can get it, put the next one in. So this basically, it comes down, it sits like that and it comes out the caliper, it comes out the second flexi, isn't it? That goes from the arm to the caliper. Yeah. And then this pipe goes to the flexi that goes from the arm to the body. So this comes down like this and then it comes back up and then it goes along the arm. So all I'm doing there is, if you look, I don't know if you can pick it up, but I generally look down it to make sure that that's in line with the rubber, because they're not perfectly 90 degrees to the handle. And then again, you just pull it round until it's straight back up, parallel with that one. Which is there. So that gives us that bit as it comes out, basically out the flexi and up, and then it comes off to the arm. So then I've got on my measurements 85 from the back to the next bend. So again, all I do is I lay it down and I measure for it. So that's from the back of this bend, which is parallel with that, 85 mil. So the top of that wants to be the outside. So the bend will start here and it'll come round basically like this. And just work your way through, back and forward to the car, adjusting it a little bit, but you want to keep everything as nice and straight as you can and your bends as nice and tight as you can without crushing the pipe. You should end up with something that looks half decent. So this is the one you've just seen me making up on the bench is for the other side. This one I've already pre-made. So you can see there, we just try and keep everything as nice and straight as we can. If I grab I'll grab what was on it. Well, this is one that I took off. That's what was in its place, but it's not. You can see the bends are not the best. It's a bit all over. That actually might have been off that side, but either or, we've replaced them. We just think they look a bit better, don't we?
We do.
So there we go. We'll crack on. So that's the end of another episode then.
Yeah.
There won't be many left, will they?
Hopefully not, no. Probably only another one or two at best.
So, engine's in. Well, you've been working under the bonnet, haven't you, whilst I've been going around brake pipes and
yeah, I've been
flexes.
doing the difficult stuff while he's been making up brake pipes.
Brake pipes, flexes, making adapters to make flexes fit. And
yeah, we'll have to show that to people why we've done that. But we've got you saw us put the intercooler in. I've cleaned all the hoses, which we'll put some photographs up to go with it that shows the before and after with the hoses. They're all fitted now. The intercooler's fitted, as we said. I've put all the wiring in, tie-wrapped all the wires up, cleaned all the hoses, ready to fit, blasted a couple of brackets and painted them just because, even though we keep saying it, we're not going for concourse, it just was too bad. That turbo hanger, I couldn't leave it, could I?
You looked at it a few times.
I got all stressed out with myself from that and started having paddies and throwing things around workshop. So I took it off, blasted that, give it a lick of paint. So we're not far off, are we? No. We're just we're waiting for the front to back fuel lines and brake lines. And if we don't get them when promised, we're going to make them ourselves, aren't we?
Yeah.
But there is a company that manufactures them.
That's new cam belt, isn't it? From before we...
Yeah, that's the new belt that we put on before we fired it up. So it's got belt and tensioner, new water pumps on. Changed the oil and filter again. Now we've had it running. exhaust to go on, but we're leaving that, aren't we?
Yeah.
Till the brake pipes that are on. But thinking about it, I might end up putting that on, then it's one job ticked off the box. Because I always say, people say, oh, you need to put that on first. You wouldn't take the exhaust off to change the pipes, would you?
No, probably not. You'd work around them.
Yeah, you'd work around it. So we'll do that if we get there, because radiator, as we say, I'm going to take that tomorrow and get that record. That can go in. I've blasted and painted the brackets, because again, they were really badly rusty. So we've done them to make them look nice and prolong their life. I want to take them tops off and give them a lick of paint, just because I'm a buff D and they look crap.
New battery to order.
Yeah, a new battery. I'll get one of them ordered tomorrow. I've cleaned all the hoses and the bits and pieces. Well, if Steve grabs camera, we can see what I've been doing. We'll show them brake pipes and that you've done.
So Paul spent majority of the afternoon
tossing it off.
Sat on that little chair there.
Yeah.
With them polishing rags over there, cleaning up them bits there.
Yeah, and I painted that.
And he painted that look. Look how good that looks.
Oh, you're always criticising, Steve. You just want all the glory. That's the problem. You want all the glory.
So they're all original hoses, then, aren't they?
They're all original. The mint, because we were a bit worried that they normally go really, really soft when they're knackered, but they're good.
They're not all split on the ends either.
No, they're really good. So we cleaned them, got them ready, cleaned all that pipe up, cleaned them, and I'll send it up so Steve can brag about the bit he's done.
Hang on, we ain't had a close-up of the engine bay yet. Look at that turbo damper there.
Don't get too close, But we did all bracket for map sensor as well. And the brackets for the intercooler are now fitted, just waiting for the radiator to come, and then
they're original hoses, aren't they?
All original hoses, all just clean. But them always are mint, to be fair, because they are proper upgraded hoses. So we'll show you the front hoses that Steve's done. Twice.
Only twice?
You did one twice. There we are. They're the brake pipes he's made. Look how lovely they are. And they're the flexes. Because we've gone for the braided ones, unfortunately, the threaded part on them hoses isn't long enough to go through the original mounts and get the nut on the back. So Steve welded some washers together and bolted them on so that we've got plenty of thread to put the original brake pipe on.
So there we go.
It's done, innit?
The back ones, I guess. We've done the backs.
Yeah, they're both done now.
So we're just waiting on the main front to rear brake pipes then, aren't we?
That's it. That's the only one we want now.
So the backs are done. See if I can get the light on. No, battery's too low. Well, that's the backs done. We kept the original flexes, didn't we? Because they was all right.
They were mint, so we kept them.
I would put the light on, but the battery's too low.
No.
Yeah, so we kept them. And then we've had to use, is it them ones there? The flexes, braided ones from there upwards. And that's it. Not far away at all. So let's put this back down. I can get it back down. There we go. So that's kind of, is this episode 3? Is this third video I've done?
I think this is 3. Yeah, I think it's 3.
Yeah. So hopefully the next one will be, I'm guessing they'll be polishing it by then, will they?
Yeah, I hope so, because they're coming early February to do the detailing on it. We're going to do a video of nothing but them detailing it. They'll tell you what they're going to do, what products they're going to use, how they're going to do it. So there'll be a video just on the outside detailing. We're not going to put the bumpers and that back on, because they've said it's easier for them to do them on a trestle. So we're going to leave the bumpers off till it's detailed. But the next video will be us really getting it back up and running, getting the radiator all piped up, connected, engine backfiring and running, everything tested again, go through everything, get the brakes all ready.
Maybe even see it going down the road.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? On wheels, we've got to get refurbished.
Yeah, we have, yeah.
There's the thing. Anybody can drop a recommendation in the comments, it'd be appreciated, because we're struggling to find a company that are willing to do 3-door wheels. They are difficult because of the centre cap. Nobody likes cutting the cap. We're not really bothered about the Ford logo because we know that's difficult to cut. But as long as they'll cut the edge of the nut on the centre cap and do them to a good standard. So if anybody knows anybody, please drop it in the comments to help us with that one. New tyres.
That's about it.
That's it.
So there we go. So, end of another episode. Once again, thanks for watching. And we'll see you in 3 or 4 weeks' time for the next barn find. But obviously, we do workshop updates as well. So keep an eye out for them. Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching.